So it's that time of year where I've got to clean the combines down. I was hoping to use them again, but with basically just the position I'm in, I just haven't got the time basically to do it. I could have took one of them to a show this weekend and it would have been great, but I just decided that the logistics of it is just too much for me this time. I've managed to use this shortback one and the Model C this year. The Humpback never did anything, the Humpback A. And so basically, over the winter, like winter just gone, I noticed that there was a bit more evidence of rat than normal. So basically my idea this time is I want to spend a little bit more time. What I did last time is I was a bit lazy. I left the sieves in. So I'm going to take the sieves out this time and I'm going to clean them properly. And been doing a bit of investigation work and sort of, I know a couple of tricks, to try and keep rats away. I don't think there's any exact foolproof method, but my basic idea for today is to just take the sieves out, clean as much of the grain out as possible in all the trough areas where the augers sit especially, and in the drum. So I'm going to take the front cover off where the drum is on the gleaner, and so it's open to the elements. And I'll open the combine up as much as possible. The rats don't like the wind coming through and everything like that. They like to be able to nest somewhere that's a bit they feel safe, I suppose. And once I've got as much of the stuff out as I can, I'm going to pour and spray a load of WD-40 in there. I did put a post on and just to ask people's opinions and what they find works as to regards like things that rats don't like. Things that came up were things like some people suggested creosote. These obviously all work for different people, different purposes. Creosote, iodine, which is obviously for medical purposes. I heard one of my friends mention that. Something called Irish Spring soap, which is just obviously a really strong smelling scenting soap that apparently works. But apparently the recipe for making it has changed. So if anybody knows about that, just what the difference is between the old type and the new type of soap, because basically this guy was saying on Facebook, on the Classic Combines group, he was saying that he cuts it into cubes and puts the soap around the combine, and the rats just hate the smell of it and keep away from it. But another one is mothballs. See, when I used to work at JMT, the combine breakers up at near Southam in Warwickshire, we used to get these little mothballs and chuck them in the cab to keep the cabs stop the mice from eating the books, the operator's manuals and stuff, and making nests under the seat and stuff. And it worked, but they banned. I was told that they were banned. We couldn't get these little balls anymore, and you had these little wooden ones in cedar mothballs, or whatever they're called, made out of wood, and they were useless. They didn't do the job. But apparently you can get them again now. You can get these mothballs again now, and they work. Unfortunately, the places I went to try and get them couldn't get them in time for today, because I should have thought of this before, but I went shopping yesterday and couldn't actually get what I wanted. So today it's just a case of cleaning them and putting the WD-40 in, and then I'm going to experiment with probably mothballs this time. Now I know it looks like I can get them again, and I'm going to, when I come down again in a month or so, I'm going to scatter mothballs inside the machines and watch and see what difference, how much. Well, I knew the rats had been there because you could see where they've been crapping everywhere. And obviously they had made a bit of a comeback, and I don't think you can ever get rid of them completely. But obviously cleaning the combine and just taking certain measures does go a long way to making sure that, they're as good as possible. Because like we all know, rats will eat wires, they'll eat rubber, they'll eat wood, they'll eat the wooden slats on the elevators and stuff. Yeah, no good. As for this year's harvest, it went really well. There was a couple of little things. So really, the big thing, the two things that I need to sort out is this little short back, as the hydraulics need adjusting. So what exactly it is, I'm not sure, but there's obviously some kind of problem with the return valve or the relief valve that holds the pressure in the header rams, because it's falling. So there's something there it needs cleaning and looking at. It might be a worn out block, and it might be a bit of dirt. I don't really know. I'm hoping it's not a worn out block, but we'll sort something out. I say the later ones were better. I put a later one, as I have mentioned before, but I put a later one on my Humpback A, because the header used to drop on that. It's been perfect ever since. So the last of the Super A's had a better block design. The two hydraulic valve slices together, and the one that the flow that goes back to the tank, because it's an open circuit, keeps on going back to the tank, and the route back is better, so it doesn't get as hot, and it's just about design. It's got like a ball bearing that stops the oil coming out of the rams, and when you want it out, you just push the ball bearing up and it flows past. Whereas on these earlier ones, it was like a poppet valve with a spring that held it, and so that it was just different. It just wasn't quite as good. Basically, the weight of all the oil was sat on the poppet valve instead of sat on a bearing. Anyway, hopefully I'll be able to find, if I have got problems with this block, I'll hopefully look for a later version and put it on. I know it's not strictly kosher, but they're just better. So that's the problem with this one. With the C, I'm going to stand over here, back to front, but I'm just using my screen camera. So with the C, really good, really impressed. Basically, it's not perfect, but really good, really impressed with it. Really hungry machine, really go. The only thing I had to do is, good thing I had the two of them going, sort of jump from one to the other, is that the engine was getting very hot. So I've got my two first options are, well, my first option is I'm going to get some bicarbonate of soda I'm not going to do it this time, but in the summer, and I'm going to run it up really hot. It's when you're going down the road, or especially when you're cutting and you're really going and it's a hot day, it gets really hot. So I'm going to flush the whole system through with some bicarbonate soda, because my feeling is there's a lot of crud in the block over the years. It's built up, because I know we did have a load of crud go in the radiator and build up, and it needs washing through. Well, we washed the radiator out and it actually helped, but it still does like to get hot, when it holds its own for a while, but then just, when you're working and that, it does do a lot more work than, it's higher rev and it's higher horsepower than these other two. It's got a bigger crop flow going through it, potentially. And so yeah, I'm going to do that, and then one thing at a time, so see how that goes, and if that doesn't make any difference, I'm going to lower the oil viscosity. So currently it's got 1540 in it, 1545 or 1040, I think. I might go to a lower one like 530 and just see how that goes on and see if that makes a difference. And other than that, I'll just have to just experiment. There's no point doing both of them at the same time, because you don't know which one worked. And it's the same with anything on a combine. You change one thing at a time, really, because if you change a whole load of things, you don't know what you've done. You don't know which one actually worked. So that's basically it. This one this year, we didn't go mad with the with the setting it up, because Luke just wanted to get as much of the grain in the shed as possible. So we just set it and just went. Sample wasn't that good, but one of the downsides of doing it like that was that because there was a lot of dust, it did block sieves up. So really, having seen that, I think you're best off making the time to make sure it's threshing just right, and then set the rest up so that you're getting minimal dust through anyway. This one, obviously that one at the end of last year was cutting grass seed, so then we had to set it back again, but this one never did. I've never done grass seed with this one. I've done with the other two, but this short back was just set back for barley, and we didn't really adjust it. We just went straight in the field, and I think I noticed on the slope right at the very end of the day there was a tiny bit coming out, but we only had a tiny bit left, so I just backed it off a bit and went a bit slower. Apart from that, this one works beautifully, really good, and yeah, so all the work I've done paid off. But again, they're coming to a point where I'm going to have to go through and check them all. You know, there's going to come a point where I'm probably going to go major on, like, so every 3 years I'll do a major on each one. So every 3 years each one gets some kind of decent work done to it and check over, and that way it keeps the work to a minimum, because they don't do that much work. We did, between these two, probably did 5 or 6 acres each this time, about that. But I'll show you my progress as I go. So just to make mention, I'm going to go see him tomorrow. There's a chap called Rob Crane, and I did say that I would mention him, and I'll show him tomorrow because I'm hoping to go to a show tomorrow. Today is for Friday the 30th of August. So tomorrow is Saturday the 31st of August. So hopefully this video will be up tonight or in the morning. But 31st of August and the 1st of September, there is a show at Blakesley near Towcester in Northamptonshire, and it's a harvest event. I was hoping to be taking a machine there, but I've got stuff to do on Sunday. I've got very important stuff to do where I live at home up in Nottinghamshire. I've got to be there. Basically, it's an important meeting and everything that I've got to be involved in. So I can't really swerve that one. So I had to prioritise what was most important in my life. But there's going to be, allegedly, a David Brown Trail combine there that was recently sold at an auction. Mike Lawrence, the baler man, had a sale. He does the chap who goes to Caston and a lot of the shows, and he takes his Jones balers and his other bits and pieces to these events. So he sold a David Brown combine. I think it's that one. And John Crowder has got a Marshall. He's a Marshall man. He likes his Marshalls. He has got another Marshall Trail combine, which is a 626. Unusual to see. I'm looking forward to seeing that. The weather looks good, so it's all good. I'm really hoping to be there. But again, I mentioned Rob Crane. Yeah, so I mentioned him. He started up his own channel, and he is big on. He's very keen on Allis Chalmers tractors and everything, you know. And he hasn't got any gleaners at the minute, but he does have a pair of all crop 60 combines, which he's doing up now. I just encourage you just to take a look at his channel and see how he's getting on, because, you know, over the next couple of years, he's going to be putting that Allis Chalmers combine to work. His latest video is actually about doing the timing on the engine. It's like a Model B engine with a distributor, and he had to work out, and he's on a learning curve, because it's all like it is with anybody in restoration, that you just learn as you go and you work stuff out, and eventually you help each other and share ideas and stuff. So that's basically it. So again, that show is at Poplars Farm. I think it's Poplars Farm. A chap called John Shepherd and his wife organising it. It's, like I say, a family farm. very interesting machinery, very keen passion for the old tractors, the old machines, the old harvesters. Even there's going to be horses there doing stuff, like Shire horses and stuff. So yeah, I encourage you to try and get up there and have a look and see it, because yeah, that's it for the time being. One more thing is, a friend of mine, Charlie, who helped us in harvest, did the baling with the Fordson and the Massey 20 baler. He has just purchased a Clayson 103 combine with a cab. So at some point, we're going to be doing a video of that. So that's going to be another little project that's going to be on my channel at some point. Just seeing how he's getting on with it and encouraging him with that, and sort of, he is a mechanic, he is a ag fitter anyway, so you know it's going to be fairly straightforward to him. Just giving him a little bit of help. I don't personally know much about those combines, but if you do, share some ideas with us. If you know anything about Clayson 103s and where you can get parts from and what parts are interchangeable, and just general tips, you know, on how to run them. Because I could work it out, but it's just outside of my understanding. So also, I'm going to share with you what I find with the rats and what's best. Over the next couple of years, I'm going to experiment with different things to see what works the best. But yeah, just share with us what you think about keeping rats out of combines. And I know I've been talking for a long time, but I just had a few things to just share with you. And yeah, so I'll just video a little bit of progress as I go through the day, and I'll catch you in a little while. See you later. Okay, I just realised I forgot something, so I'll add this in. Rob Crane, the Alice Chalmers chap, he's on YouTube as Tractor Rob UK. So just have a look and encourage him in what he's doing, because it's a good thing. Right, I'll see you in a little while. There you go, I'm just making a little observation. So July 1968, so that tax disc was issued on the 26th of July 1967. Quite interesting that, we're getting closer, get the light out of it, 884 YYB, that's the current registration. That's what it's got on it now. So that tax disc has been there for very nearly 60 years. Yeah, it's been there 56 years. Look at the condition of it. There's a tiny bit of water on it. I mean, that's pretty good. That means, you know, if that had spent a serious amount of time outside, that would have been non-existent. So, you know, I've noticed that before, but I just sort of twigged. That is interesting. But what's more interesting is that reg. I wonder, does anybody know how I could find out anything about that? Because I've got a problem with this combine, and I'll show you. It's the only thing that sort of, these other two Model A, the shortback and this one, all of the paperwork and the numbers match up. This one, the number on the reg document, the license document, or whatever you call it, the logbook, sorry, is actually the number on the engine on this one. So it proves the engine's original. The numbers all match up on this one, and it's actually road registered on its original plates, same as that one, whereas that one, the actual VIN number, the vehicle identity number, is the one on the paperwork. This one's a Model C. You can see the difference, the size difference. It's bigger, it's a bigger combine, it's Model C. Yeah, EA 150D. That plate, 150, I mean, that's the first 150A built. So EA, English A or Essendine A, diesel, 150. I mean, that's an early machine, that is. That'd be, I mean, you're talking probably a 3-speed box in that one. So yeah, one of the very, very early English built A's. So there you go, look, EA 3096. So this one's 64. So they built 3000 in, you know, 5-6 years. Although this is a humpback, but it's still an EA. It's still done as an EA. So this machine is, number would be EC. Now, I'm wondering if, I mean, when was this done? I just don't know. I really don't know. This machine, this was obviously taken off a short back A, a very early one, would have been with a P6 engine, I would imagine, with an early P6 inline pump. And it's been put on this for some reason. The identity's been changed on it. And I don't think I'll ever find out why. But my feeling about this machine is that it's one of the early ones. And I can't prove it. So these humpback Cs were built between 1962 and 64. Well, they were the harvest years for these ones. But what makes me think it's slightly earlier than normal is there's no shroud round the steering column. So as that one doesn't have one, 1960, and I know it's 1960 because I've got all the legitimate paperwork. There's no shroud round the column, whereas Model C's 1963, 1964 had a shroud round the column. Like, I'll show you how I mean. Like that. Rusty old thing on there. Yeah, so they slightly just, I don't know, yeah, you know, they just made it a little bit more decorative. Yeah, so it kind of it is interesting how that is in such good that tax disc is such good condition. That's the best one I got. I've got ones of these other two machines, but they are deteriorated. And that's been on the machine all that time and it's still in good nick. So yeah, there you go. Long may it continue to be up there. Yeah. Brilliant. I won't keep you too long, the video will be an hour long. Right, see you later. There you go, it's a little bit squeaky, it's just a knife where the pitman moves in and out. Goes back and forward a bit, just a bit more to sort that out. Yeah, so I'm running it up to get as much dust out as I can before I take the sieves out and start going in there myself. So I run it through. It slowed down, the throttle just gradually slowed down on its own, so I'll sort that out now. Yeah, so basically it. Apart from that squeaky knife, smooth as anything, that one. Right, see you in a sec. Right, now, the next job, take these bolts out, take this cover off, so the drum is open, take this cover off here, and undo these bolts and take the sieves out. So that one doesn't need to come out, it just rests on there, but this one comes out, and these two here come out, and that comes off as well. So I'll clean all them. I've got some vegetable oil to put on the side of the wooden sieves, somewhere, yeah. In that box there, it's just old chip oil, but that'll work, it just protect the wood. That one hasn't got wooden sieves as such, it's more metal, like a Massey 525 would have. Yeah, so on we go. So that's the difference with what the difference when you set up a combine, and what I'm talking about when I set up a combine properly. The primary thing, setting up the drum right. I mean, I'm talking to probably most of you seasoned farmers, so you know, but it's just, obviously it just confirms stuff to me in the time that I've been doing this and experimenting in with combines. You know, I didn't grow up on farms, so I had to learn a lot of it and just do a lot of it by trial and error. And find that, you know, you set that drum right, this is not a problem as much, because, you know, I haven't done anything to this and there's no crud stuck in it. Whereas Model C, you'll see it in a minute when I get to it. Yeah, it's blocked. It's all, you know, thinking, oh, you know, we'll just rough cut it and we'll just get on with it and it will all be all right. Now, the trouble is, if you don't set that drum right and you over thresh it, you end up with all kinds of crud in the back. So, you know, you might think you're saving, letting all the stuff come through, but you're not, because you're actually causing problems. That's what my experience of it is. You know, the sample don't have to be perfect, but get the drum set up as good as it can, and then the rest just as good as you can. It makes the rest of the whole thing easier. You know, it's all well and good. It didn't matter too much about what went in, you know, what went in the grain, because the cow's going to eat it. So it's not like it's going to be sold or anything. It was for feed, for personal use. But you know, I know in future that if anybody says to me, "I don't worry about it," no, you just get it as close as you can. You know, this one ran beautifully. The sample was amazing, and you know, when I was looking right till the end, there was a little bit on the floor, but only a little bit I noticed in the last couple of runs. But when I was checking in the day, you know, every time I looked, I couldn't find anything on the floor, and the sample was perfect. And then look at that. That's why, because these weren't blocking up. But you'll see the Model C in a bit, and you know, I'm going to get on it next time and make sure that it's done properly, because I don't hide anything. I don't pretend I'm the perfect combine operator. I learn something new every year, and I'm sure we all do. So, you know, it's just part of it, isn't it? So I might as well share my experiences with you. Some of you might laugh at me, but that's fine. See you later. So I just took that off. I'm quite pleased with the conditioning there. There was nothing on the concave. It's all been blown through, which is good. There's obviously a little bit in the header I need to clean out. But while I got that cover off, I just made a point of cleaning behind the bars, because really the dust settles on the back of those bars as you go in, and it can create imbalance. What I noticed is this time we've done a bit, and obviously this year we cut a bit of barley. They weren't too bad. What I tend to notice, and I've sort of come to realise, is that actually in a wet season makes it worse. And yeah, so it seems to be a lot worse if it's in a little bit damp crop. It sticks to it worse and it bunches up worse, and you have to clean it off in season. But it weren't too bad this time. I just cleaned it off, lightly cleaned it off. You know, if it builds up, it starts to make the combine vibrate sometimes, which I've noticed before, and had to, you know, mid-harvest had to take the cover off to stop it shaking the combine, because it causes fatigue to the machine, you see. So if you don't clean it, it just gets worse. So yeah, that's that little job done as well. And so now I'm going to lift the header up, and I'm going to do that panel there. And I'm going to, now I've got once I've got everything off of it, I'm going to take it round and have another blowout, another clean out with it, and then get to work getting inside it and cleaning the bits out, and then pour some oil in it, spray some oil on the inside mainly, trying to make sure that I don't get anything on the rubbers or anything like that. And yeah, plenty in the header and plenty in all the places where the rats are going to try and get in. So just another, I always put the bolts, try and put the bolts back in and put them back in the sieves as well, which I haven't done yet. I've done on that one, so I've got a couple of bolts to put in here. Saves the hassle of wondering where the bolts are next year. So, right, see you in a minute. So, yeah, you just reconcile with some Gleaner owners around the world. Sure you will sympathise with what I'm just about to say. Taking this bottom cover off, guaranteed I always smash my head on that piece of metal. Even though I know it's there, I always manage to get it. It cracks me on the head every time. In fact, you can see it's been bent back, so somebody's hit it with a hammer and it weren't me. But yeah, just thought I'd share that with you. That's the lever that you use to fit the concave stone door back in again. You know, there's a real mega spring on that. It takes some doing, that does. It's all right to get back in. It's getting it, if you want to get it open by hand. Man, that takes some force. When a stone goes in there and opens that, that's some serious kicking, that is. But anyway, see you in a minute. That's how they have you. Well, we all know what they do, but you can see that cover used to go there. And obviously some idiot rat has decided it was going to eat it. I'm sure it was very nutritious. But there you go, so that's why. And unfortunately, you can only reduce the problem. I don't think you can ever completely get rid of it. Not really. So that's a job that obviously will need doing. With, you know, I'm not sure exactly. I'm sure that that's happened recently, I think, you know, because that wasn't like that when I refurbished the combine. I'm sure I did that. Everything was done. You see, all the seals were done. So that's obviously happened more recently. That seal sits right in the top here. Up there, it's sort of where the header hinges. It sort of sits up against that. So they've obviously sat in there and had a good old go at it. Just hoping it'd be a nightmare if they get at these, you see, because they will chew these woods if they, you know, they feel like it. So there you go. Never mind, just something to note. So it's a nice day out here. Found a chair, look, lovely. Just gonna have some lunch. Got a nutritious lunch. Ham and cheese sandwich, packet of crisps and a chocolate bar and some water. Lovely. So I have sprayed it reasonably heavily with lots of oil. Gonna do a bit more. Gonna saturate like what's left of the crop residue. So you can see it there, it's very shiny. I didn't spray too much the outside of the machine because it's already been done so many times. It's kind of just a waste of stuff, and the trouble is the dust sticks to it. You can see there, look. That's the old residue with the dust stuck to it. So it's the outside's all right. Plenty of stuff in there. I'm going to pour some in here, but it's in there that I need it, especially this, because this is the returns and I can't get my hand in there. The only way I can get it in there is to take this platform out, that separator out, and I don't want to be doing that really. Yeah, she's a bit bit of rot there. Never mind. It's where all the dust got stuck behind the panel, got stuck down here. It's always a good idea if yours is complete to pour oil down there, really. But yeah, she's pretty good. So now it's time to get the Model C out. I've poured some inside the tank as well. Poured plenty of oil inside the tank and sprayed in there because the rats do get in there as well. But as you can see, a load on that grain pan there on the false bottom just puts it off. You know, I don't think they'll really be wanting to eat their dinner off of that. I keep an eye on progress. This is what I normally do. I never put anything else in it. I think the only reason why I had a bit more rats in them last year is because I was too lazy to take the sieves out and do it properly. So this time these two are getting done properly. That Model A at the front there that I hadn't used, I'm just going to put a bit more spray around that. I think it's just coming up 2 o'clock. It took me about 3 hours to do this, so another 3 hours, about 5 o'clock, should have that one done as well. So it's not that big a deal. You know, I'm looking at probably finishing about 6. So got here about 10:30, 11. Not a bad job at all. So just quick another little quick spray around, and then I'll get on the sea and have that machine out there. Right, see you later. So here we have it. Model C's out, started up really well, drove really well, you know, as expected. It always does start up really well, starts straight away. So same job basically, slightly different because there's a couple of different bits, like this deflector here to stop the straw getting built up on the steering. Yeah. So yeah, I'll show you what the problem was the other day. You see all that? Look, we clogged the sieves up, idiots. Never mind, we live and learn. Yeah, proper blocked the back end of the sieves up with loads of crud instead of doing it properly. Oh, there's a bit of diesel getting in there. Look. Right. See, put that light on a second. Yeah. Okay. Apart from that, pretty good. I know the walker bearings want doing on this. Right, catch you in a minute. I'm not going to spend too long filming this, otherwise the video will be too long. But yeah, do the just basic things. Catch you later. Right, try again. The last video didn't work very well. So, job is clean all the dirt out of the tank, get all that residue out the bottom, and clean the rest about what's in the header, and just go around and check just as much as I can, make sure everything is clean as I can, and yeah, we'll go from there. So, catch up with you in a minute. So, I have just started the one I haven't used, the little Model 8 with the humpback. Just started that, sprayed it a bit, give it a run while I'm here. It is called, let me have a look, Enzyme Energy, and it's fuel treatment. Apparently it's not very good, but I've got it anyway because I want to try and make sure I never get a fuel bug. I've never had it, and I don't ever want to have it. So when I finish the season, I'll mix it in the system, so when it's sitting over winter, it's got it in the tank, and then, you know, hopefully it just prevents that from accumulating. I'm just going to go rev this up. I say I just sprayed a bit of oil on it, started up very nicely. The old chain that, and it's changing. that's about it for this combine. So you can see all the oil in there. I poured loads of oil in the drum set, flicks it through, just blown loads of oil through it. So hopefully it saturates what straw is in there, goes through the combine, and just I put some in the tank. Hopefully it just puts the rats off when they get in there, you know. I'll tell you what I did. I actually, like I say, people were saying, you know, mothballs, I've heard mothballs before. Irish Spring soap, apparently they changed the recipe looking on the internet. Iodine, creosote, all things. Can't remember what somebody else said, something about putting something around the tyres that puts them off. Can't remember exactly what that was, but anyway, they were all things that were suggested to me. None of them I've got at the minute, but I'll order. What I'm going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to order something in, probably mothballs, put them through the machine, and I mean, hopefully what I've done puts them off anyway. But I'll just put some mothballs. I'll get 30 mothballs, or maybe 60 actually. They come in packets of 30, so I'll put 20 mothballs throughout the machine, and each one. Yeah, so basically what I've done with what I got is I mixed WD-40 with a bit of engine oil and a bit of wax oil and just sprayed it through. Unfortunately, it has gone on the paddles on this one, but on the elevator paddles, which I shouldn't have done really, but there you go. It's just one of them things. I was just running that little Model A up, that little Humpback A up, and noticed the engine was getting really hot. Well, I say really hot. It got hot really quickly, which surprised me. So at some point, I'm going to have to have a look at that, because that got hot quicker than I was expecting. When I put it away, there was nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't mean to say there's nothing wrong with it now. So basically, today really, I'll just show you my sieves, and then basically this is going to go in the shed. I'm not going to do anything more to it now. So just show you these. They're the sieves out of the Model A. That's the elevator, the raddle cover from under the elevator off the C. There's a bit over there from the C. These are the C sieves, and you know they're full of dust. But there is actually wood on them a little bit of wood. So I'm just gonna use that vegetable oil, run them down, and then get back home and upload this video. So yeah, I'll see you, well hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, because I'm going to be at that show, and all being well I'll do a video of the show. Yeah, so hopefully I'll see you there. Have a good one.